All right, this is a topic that has been used and abused and talked about and argued about for absolutely ever and will continue. There's a lot of people out there that are set in their ways and what they know, whether it be correct, incorrect, or just old information. I'm going to try to be super brief with this, but it is going to be a little bit. But we are talking about viscosities of oil, extremely important. A lot of your older vehicles, diesels even, 1540, 2050 for say motorcycles. And then we're getting down into the newer vehicles, 020, 016, 0W8 for even the new Priuses. I mean, it's water, thinner than water. The first number, the W, everyone wants to say wait still to this day. It actually just means winter. So your first number, this is going to go off of the ambient temperature. The lower the number, the thinner the viscosity of oil. So if you're at 30 Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, that is what the viscosity is going to be to start off when you first initially turn on that engine. Now the second number is what it is at running temperature. When your engine actually gets to fully running temperature, typically for your gasoline, it's around 240 Fahrenheit. Diesels are a little bit cooler at about 210 Fahrenheit, give or take. That's what the oil temperature gets to. That second number is going to be what it actually is at for viscosity at that temperature. So of course it is a higher number, and that is because it is giving it that cushion. It is giving it that protection for the engine when everything expands and is flowing in there. That's your flow rate essentially with the viscosity. These newer cars, being much thinner, are recommended at something, say we're about to talk about for this Subaru, it recommends a 0W20. The problem is their vehicle at now 150,000 miles has been burning oil and also has a lot of clacking and chatter in the top end. It's getting significantly worse, and I am worried about long-term it being an issue for the vehicle. The problem is my mom only does trips for about 10 miles radius. Short trips, always starting the engine, being cold, is going to cause problems long-term. Even if she's not putting a lot of miles on it, it is definitely going to cause problems. So I'm going to just go over in the manual showing some information on this. Again, this has been burning oil typically about, I want to say, a quart every 1,200 miles, give or take. Really not bad. It even says in the manual around that range or less is to be expected. I'm going to tell you right now, unless it's a very new vehicle with low tension rings for the pistons, those unfortunately will start consuming oil with mileage. But a very healthy engine really should not be burning unless it's a rotary or a two-stroke. And we really don't have those on the road. So for your typical vehicle, burning oil might be something that most of everybody today is common, they're going to be dealing with, but at the end of the day, does mean that there is some issue with the vehicle. Whether it's burning it from the piston rings, the oil ring on the pistons, is it burning it because the PCV valve is not working properly for the emissions, or is there another issue, top end, valve seals? There's multiple different things that can cause it. Now for this vehicle, with that clatter and that chatter that's going on, when the engine's cold, I'm very worried about it long term for them keeping it a couple more years. Now, unfortunately, also, this vehicle was serviced recently, I believe last year at Subaru, and the technician, unfortunately, put in double the oil. So it had somewhere around 7 to 8 quarts, and it was ran like that for a short period of time. They're saying no damage was done, but unfortunately, too much oil in an engine is as bad, if not worse, than being low on oil. Not out of oil, but lower on oil. I will say one saving grace for this car, which I really do like for this Subaru, is that once you're about a quart to a quart and a half low, so you still have a decent amount of oil in the engine, the oil light comes on. Most vehicles, when that oil light comes on, you are at 1.5 quarts, maybe if you're lucky, 2 quarts, and you're losing oil pressure. And by that point, you've done damage, irreversible damage. So for this vehicle, for it to kick on early, I really do like that Subaru has a sensitive one to come on before oil pressure is lost. Now, that's not to say that oil pressure might be slightly lost. A boxer engine, I'm not going to get into all of that. They can have issues with oil starvation. So maybe it is losing oil pressure. But again, the fact that it's not much below the dipstick low level does make me feel better. I am going to be changing the oil in this. It does recommend 020, which has been ran in it. We are in a very warm climate in Alabama. And in this manual, I'm going to quickly read it to you all. It actually does state just this. Now, it also shows that you can run 5W30 or even a 5W40 in hot climates or for a temporary use. It does recommend that you go back, though, to the original level. So I might have to do another video because I just lost the spot, and this manual is going to take me forever to find it. I'm about to just tell you all just what I said, the viscosity that it shows. And then on top of that, it states right in here, if you are in a warmer climate, that it does recommend you use a thicker oil. And for that fact, a lot of people are so set on that one that it states is the only correct one. But unfortunately, that is not the case. If you live in a warmer climate, it is definitely recommended to use a thicker. And since this states it, I am going to be going to a 5W30. I could run a 5W40, but my mom does not run this vehicle hard. And with the short trips, I'd rather that oil get to the temperature, the proper viscosity sooner and not cause her any issues. So anyways, something to keep in mind, the viscosity, especially on these newer vehicles, is very important. Now with this thing being at 152,000 miles, it's had that clatter, chatter going on the top end. I want to say for at least the last 6 months to a year. I really only noticed it a little bit the last time I visited, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. So the fact that that noise has gotten worse, and also it doesn't just do it at a cold startup. Once the car's been sitting for a good 45 minutes, and today it's almost 80 degrees out, really has me worried. So what I'm going to be doing to a thicker viscosity might hopefully buy them time, let them get maybe another year or two, possibly more out of it. But at the rate and the noise that it makes, which I will be posting shortly, once this engine is cold, does have me a little bit worried. A lot of people will say, well, it's a Subaru. But things like this, if resolved early enough and you don't have issues with, say, someone putting in double the amount of oil and bending a rod or causing irreversible damage even to the top end to the valves, these engines at 2.5 naturally aspirated really can last a long time. So I'll be posting more on this, but I just wanted to go over oil viscosities and try to clear up a few things for everybody. Y'all have a great day.